Three, two, one. Welcome back to another episode of Unlearned and Reborn, a podcast where old habits are unlearned and new ones are reborn. Welcome back. How y'all doing? How y'all feeling? I look fly. I look good. How many of y'all have that song stuck in y'all head? And you know which one I'm talking about. By Miss Victoria. In our heads. Shout out to Charlie. How y'all doing? This week has been great so far. It's still hot outside. Little did I know, I thought it was fall. I'm bringing out the cardigan and the sun. Like, wait, hold up, put it up, because I'm about to make you sweat. I don't know how many of y'all live in these states that got the bipolar weather, but I'm among you. I promise I am. I feel you. It's getting real ridiculous outside. Nuts. Let's see. Last week we talked about the confidence to stand. That was a great episode. If you haven't listened to it, pause this, stop cheating, go back and go listen to it, and then come back and join me. I'll be here. Okay. Yeah, it takes a lot of confidence to do this thing called Christian, to do this Christian walk, to do this thing called life. It takes a lot of confidence to do it. So, even on days where you don't have the confidence, God got you. And it takes $0 to let him know, like, hey, today it's rough for me. I need you to really, give me some comfort. And I promise you, he will definitely be there. So, again, you haven't listened to episode, what is that? I don't even remember what episode it was. I just know it was last week. Pause this and go back. No cheating. We don't do that here. Okay? I'm always here for you. So today, I want to talk to you about, today's episode is going to be titled, The Dusty Shelf. What does that mean? Because, girl, don't call me Dusty. I'm not calling you Dusty. Just listen. The Dusty Shelf. This episode is going to be about what happens when we have all this talent and we don't use it. How many of you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm just so good at makeup. I'm just so good at hair. I slay people's wigs left and right. What? I slay it. How many of you feel like, oh my gosh, when it comes to, finances, I'm that girl. I can budget. I'm a budget babes. I'm a boss budgeter. But you're not using those talents. So we're going to talk about that today because I'm here to tell you, I'm going to need you to get it together. Because you don't want to be the man in the Bible with the talents that he hid. No, we're not doing that. We're going to utilize our talents and we're going to showcase them to the world, okay? So, for example, me, before I started the podcast, I was always my friend's therapist. Like, they knew that they could call me, tell me anything. I'm going to listen. I'm going to give you some advice. You might not always like what I have to say. I'm not going to say it in a rude way, but just know I am going to give you some nuggets. Like, I'm going to give you some nuggets for free. So, even when, I've always been that way. Even when I was younger, people would pour themselves out to me and I would just, okay, I would listen and I would, give them feedback or, comfort them or whatever. Like, people that can listen to someone else tell them things and not run the streets with the business, because that happens a lot too. Like, if y'all are those people, y'all need to cut it. You need to cut it. Don't be like that. Because if it was your mess, or your feelings, your business, and somebody was running and telling that, you would not be okay with that. So why do you feel the need to go do that? I always say, and yes, I am not abstaining from gossip. Do I? Girl, let me tell you. Yes, I do. But for me, there is levels to that. I'm not running and telling, the deepest, darkest, something that my homegirl told me to the next person. No, I'm not doing that. Now, if you tell me something like it's basic, like, yes, I might tell my husband, like, babe, let me tell you what happened today, something like that. But it's never exposing the person, running somebody's name through the mud. Like, no, don't do that. Especially if I find, and it would happen in military life, if I find that, we're sitting and we eating or whatever, and then you just start telling me this person's business, I didn't ask, I didn't say, oh, how's so-and-so, or dang, did you see so-and-so's story? You just offering up information. I'm making a mental note off rip. I cannot tell you jack, because you gonna tell it, baby. I would not tell you nothing. So, the dusty shelf, right? Um, I feel like let's just say that the shelf is our life, right? Imagine you as a shelf, whatever type of bookshelf you want to be. You want to be the, what do they call it? The minimalist bookshelf, where it's open and it's bright and it's probably white or a light beige, and it doesn't have the dividers because it's just free and everything like that. Yours might be short and stocky. Yours might be the old school traditional, 3 levels, nothing fancy. It's black. It's durable. It's going to last you 10, 20 years before you have to buy a new one. Yours might be an in between. Whatever it is, imagine your life as a bookshelf, okay? And then imagine that as you go through life, you create chapters, right? You create chapters within books. Those books are the seasons of your life. And you're putting those seasons in the book, on the bookshelf, right? So let's say that, you just got out of a breakup season. Congratulations, you're healed. You feel, or, you might still feel like you're still healing, but you're not where you were when you first got broken up with. Okay, we're going to put that book on a bookshelf. You just got out of a bad marriage. We're going to put that book on a bookshelf. You just had a baby. Congratulations, mama. We're going to put that book on a bookshelf. You just started dating again. We might have to revisit an old book so we know what to not look for and not what to not gravitate to. But, we're starting a new book, a new job, a new car, a new house, whatever, right? You have those respective books on the bookshelf, right? So you are the bookshelf. Then the things that occur in your life, the seasons that you go through, those are going to be, so we'll say the things that occur in your life are books, but the seasons are going to be chapters within those books, right? Because say, like, for example, if you just get married, you're going to have seasons throughout that first year of marriage, whether it be the honeymoon, phase, like they said, or, the we can't get along phase. Maybe if y'all decided to start a family right away. Okay, now we're trying to navigate through a soon to be parents phase, or, both of you are working. You don't get to see each other at home. Now we're working through the, we need to spend more time together phase, whatever it is. All of those books have chapters, which we're going to say are the seasons, right? So within those chapters, I believe that God has given each and every one of us a talent, whether it's something that is something we do with our hands, like stylists, makeup artists, architect, that kind of thing, whether it's our brain that he has blessed us with, it's one thing to, oh, okay, that kid, wow, he's really sharp. And then it's another thing to be like just infatuated with all things learning, all things knowledge. Like that's how my oldest is, Braylon. He's just like that. He loves all things learning, just that's how I am, all things learning. So we would say that that's an intellectual person. I believe that is a talent. You can be somebody that's easy to talk to. So a lot of those people become, therapists, psychiatrists. I believe that is a talent. Being able to comfort someone with your words, I believe that is a talent, and it also goes to show you that two people could look at a list of talents and say, oh, really? I don't think that's a talent. A talent, the gift of gab. I don't think that's a talent. And somebody else could say, oh, no, babes, that is, because let me show you why. Boom, 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 right? So whatever your talent is, I always say God has given each and every one of us something that we are just naturally good at. In high school, it was the person that could do all 6 sports and just be naturally good at them. Like, he was at practice, yes, but did he really have to dedicate, X amount of hours to this job, to this sport to be good? No, he was naturally good. That is somebody that has the talent to just be good, just naturally good, right? So then you go through life, as you continue to go through life, and you're figuring things out, and you're learning things about yourself, about others, I feel like those talents come into play. Throughout your life, if somebody has told you, man, you are really good at this, you should start a blank. You should start a business. You should start a podcast. Man, you could be a teacher. Like the way that you break things down is so easy to understand. Like the way that you say stuff, like it makes so much sense. Whatever the case is that they say, I believe those are little hints to the talents that God gives us. And I do believe he gives us more than one. Now, like I said, with it being the dusty shelf, is all of that is within those books, within those chapters, is the little moments or big moments that you have a chance to utilize your talent and you choose not to. Whether it's out of fear or, girl, I sang at the middle school talent show and my voice cracked. I ain't doing that no more. I'll just sing to myself, or I'll sing in the shower, or I'll sing at home. I'm not doing that. Or, no, I don't really like the way I sound on the mic, so I'm not going to start a podcast. Or, nobody in my family has ever opened up an actual physical building with their business name on it. I don't want to fail. So when it comes to you not using your talent, I believe that God is so gracious that he will you don't want to use it, but when you have children, that's another way for you to know, like, okay, wait a minute. This kid has my ways, and he's gotten this from somewhere. She's gotten this from somewhere. When your daughter's just naturally good at makeup. And back in the day, you used to do that, but you stopped because, maybe you got pregnant or you just lost interest, but that was your thing. Now she's into it. How so? She got it from you. Or she got it from her, your son, he's into cars, just like his dad. Like, that's one thing about that purpose thing, your talent that then gets connected with your purpose, that then gets connected with, you add God to that, which should be first, of course, and that equals your everything, your destiny, your platform, whatever. When those things all work together and they're churning like a engine, it is like a well-oiled machine of just operating when you have those things that work together. And like I said, he will, even if you are utilizing your talent, sometimes your children will get those same quirks about them, and that came from you. Like, I just feel like that's God's nod, like, to us, like, okay, I'm going to show them that this thing can be used, and boom, this is how it's going to be used in a very unusual way. This kid is just going to be naturally smart. This kid is just going to be naturally talented, and I'm going to show them. And I think sometimes, even as parents, we can do our children a disservice when we stop them from doing something because we had a bad experience. Like, say if I was a gymnast or I was training real hard and I broke I tore or broke something. And now, my daughter wants to be this, and she's really, really adamant. And I can see that she's naturally good. I mean, she's showing all the signs just like I was. But I'm like, no, baby, I don't want you to do that because it's just not safe. Don't do that. Don't stand in the way. Sometimes we can even dampen the light of our own talent out of fear, out of rejection. You don't want to be rejected. You're just unsure, or you might just be in the beginner phases. I would rather fail knowing I gave it my all than quitting without even trying. I would rather fail while giving it my all than quit without even trying. That's why your girl is back in school. I don't know if I tell y'all, I'm back in online school, and I've been crushing it. And it just made me laugh because I'm like, one, thank you, God, for giving me another chance at this. Two, it made me laugh because all the times that I would withdraw from class because I'm like, oh, well, I don't know, we got this presentation coming up. I don't know if I could do it. And I just end up withdrawing from the class, dropping the class. And it's like, sis, you didn't even apply yourself. Some of us, that is our main issue. It's not that we don't have it. You don't even try to apply what you do have. You're stuck in I don't know, the doubting and the unsure phase. Baby, apply the pressure. Because if what you're applying the pressure to can't stand, it'll crumble, but that's okay. Move on to the next thing. When things don't go your way, you do have to reevaluate and say, okay, God, I thought you were sending me this way, but for some reason this is not working for me. You could be in the right neighborhood. You might just not be at the right house. Now, if it's just going completely left, babes, you might not even be, you might not be on the right wave at all. Like, let's go back to the drawing board. But some of us be two fails from a pass. But, society tells us, like, when it comes to failing, like, okay, listen, don't, no, some of them be a little outrageous with the whole take a risk thing. But, don't, 20s is for, being young and, date who you want, date multiple people. It's about learning yourself, discovering yourself. It's about all of that. Babes. Those are some good years that you could waste by just guessing. Now, when you're trying something and you're giving it your all, is that still a guess? Technically, yes, it is. But at least try your best to evaluate your life and get yourself in a place where at least you're in the right area, right? Like when you go to college and you have to pick a major, and then if you would even want to get more specific, you can add a cognate to it. Bleh. You don't know what I'm trying to say. You can add the specification of what you want to specialize in your degree in, right? Sometimes people just go the more general route. Like me, I'm going for a BS in business administration. There's also a BS in business administration with a focal point in finance, or with a focal point in, marketing or something like that. Like, get in the right field. Because like I said, again, like what I said a couple episodes ago, when God told me to start the podcast, he just gave me the field. Start the podcast. He didn't give me the specification of, okay, I want you to pour into women about their self-worth, their confidence. Pour into them about how to be more ladylike, how to be more feminine, how to carry themselves in a way that is pleasing to me. He didn't tell me all that. As I started going through the episodes and stuff, I realized that's where my podcast was gearing towards. And that's where I began to, focus in and double down, as they would say, with that. But when I first started out, no, I really didn't know what my huge, focal point would be. But I knew my big, larger goal is that I wanted women to be impacted in a positive way and to listen to one of my episodes and leave feeling free. Leave feeling loved. Like, dang, she really, finally somebody sees me. Like, this is the big sis I never had. Leaving feeling like, if I don't got nobody else, I know I got her in my corner. Like, she's a positive role model, a positive influence. And when you don't use your talent, I feel like your life is just halfway lived. It's unfulfilled for sure, because you're always going to have that pull towards that thing that you're supposed to be doing. Even if you don't do it for God, even if you don't, you're doing it for the world, you're still going to be feeling that pull to do it. Now, whether you do it for them or you do it for him, is up to you. But nothing, I think we kind of leave up, our life to these just random coincidences too much. Stuff just doesn't happen to happen. Like, when those big things happen, like car accidents and getting laid off the job, going through a divorce, or even, getting married, having a baby, when those big things and those shifts happen in those chapters of those books that are on those bookshelves, those are things to pay attention to. Because you'll never be able to say, oh, well, God, you left me hanging. And he'll rewind the tape like, okay, remember 2 weeks ago when I had your coworker tell you, man, your style is so dope, you could really design your own clothes? I was telling you then, get back on the sewing machine. When that lady at church asks you, oh my gosh, have you ever done anybody else's makeup? And you're like, no, I just do my own, I'm just getting back into it or whatever. That was me telling you, go back to school for cosmetology, or start it up again. Start practicing makeup again. Start doing. He will guide you. It's if you're gonna listen that matters. And don't look at the size per se of the talent. If you feel like you're good at something, pursue it, because God will send the revenue. He'll send the numbers. That's the least of his concern. He just wants you to be faithful with the little, and then you'll get the much. Not be faithful with the much, and then, he'll be more specific with you and he'll give you every little. No. If he only ever tells you just start the podcast, he wants to know if you'll go buy the equipment and start the podcast. Even if your first episode was just you saying, "Hey y'all, my name is this, and I'm so excited to be here." Whatever the case may be. Whatever the case may be, he just wants to know, will you trust him enough to even put yourself out there? A lot of us are scared. A lot of us feel like, well, I don't know if I'm qualified. Listen, cut that out. You have got to get this obsession and overly obsessed with this being good enough thing out of your head. I even struggled with that today about a situation. And I told my husband, I said, sometimes I just feel like I don't know if I'm doing enough. If, I'm feeling a bit insecure, I don't know if I'm, doing enough. And it's good to be honest with how you're feeling. And I did feel much better after, talking with him and letting him know like what was, what I was experiencing, because the more you keep trying to ignore that you do have the imposter syndrome, or that you do have the stage fright of talking in front of people, even though that's something you really, really would like to do, it'll just keep resurfacing, and it's going to be deeper. It's going to be a bigger, emotion each time. It's almost like it's like a Lego that you stack on top of each other. It's going to keep stacking up. Like, you have to get to a place where you are willing to deal with you. I procrastinate. I start and I stop. I was very bad about that. Starting and stopping. And then God was like, you say you want these things, but you don't finish them. Why would I give you this if you don't even finish that? Why? And to some of us, it might hurt hearing him say something like that, but it's the truth. And it would make you really evaluate, like, dang, I really do start and stop a lot. I'm telling you, starting and stopping, it is an addiction once you start doing it. I'll do it tomorrow. That thing is addictive. Oh, I'll just get to it. I'll do it later. Later turns into never. Because how many of you have said later, and then that later gets pushed to tomorrow? Okay, Ben, I'm going to do it first thing in the morning. It gets pushed to the afternoon. It gets pushed to the evening. And before you know it, now it's the next day. Then it's the next day after that. Procrastination is something that is an addiction. It can become an addiction. You will start procrastinating every aspect of your life. It won't just be schoolwork. It won't just be your relationship. It'll be finances. It'll be reading the Bible. It'll be being on time for work, applying yourself, throughout your life. It'll be everything. It'll spill over into everything you do. Like, I try to give myself 2 things to accomplish a day. If I get to the other 75 things that I know I need to get done, throughout the week or throughout the month, great. But it's okay to be realistic with yourself. If you're a mom, stay-at-home mom, and your husband's at work, your schedule's going to have to be more realistic, ma'am. Because if not, you're going to be running around here with a chicken with your head cut off, and you're going to be stressed, irritated, mad, angry, probably half eating, probably half taking care of yourself. Like, our lives are meant to be balanced. We have these talents, and I'm not saying, just go bet. I'm gonna pack up my apartment. I'm gonna go move across the country, and I'm gonna live this thing out. Everybody might not be called to that type of radicalness. Some people do. They like, what? I feel like that's what God's calling me to do. Everybody's not like that, because if you get over there and you only have 1 month's worth of rent, you're gonna go back to your old apartment. Okay, like, that is not what I'm saying. And I think, like, society is like, either you're gonna be real left, where, the whole don't eat, no sleep, I don't sleep at all. I only sleep for 2 hours a day. The rest, I'm up and I'm grinding. If you sleep longer than 2 hours, you suck. You're sleeping your life away. You'll always be behind. It's those people. And then it's the people all the way over to the right. It's like, you know what? I'm just going to go with the flow. Whatever happens in my life happens. Nothing bothers me. Nothing upsets me. I'm just a flower that just blooms and just grows. You got to be somewhere in the middle. Because it's okay to feel like, dang, that one hurt. Okay, yeah. Oof. I just got that bill in the mail. Like, okay, that one hurt me. And then you could be like, you know what? I did get that bill in the mail, but God, this is your car. Okay, you the one that told me to get this car. So, your car bill is due. It's due. I don't know how you're gonna work it out, and that's not up to me. I'm just letting you know, as if you don't already know, it's due. Okay, and what you do with the information, cool, up to you. I don't want my car repossessed. I need my car. I need my car because I have to get to and from work. I have to pick my children up from daycare. I have to do this, that. God, this is you know what I mean? That kind of thing. Finding a balance. And what you end up doing with your talent speaks volumes of even what you think about yourself. If you don't believe in you, you cannot expect anyone else to. Like you can't. I believe that is why people get picked up on Shark Tank, for example. They're pitching their idea, and even if there's been some ideas I've seen on Shark Tank where I'm like, bruh, I'm not gonna lie, I really feel like we already have something like this. But the way that they deliver that thing and pursue that thing, and the way that they pursue those the sharks, they pursue them, and they're like, really interested and really grabbing them in and really bringing them in. Listen, then people be invested. They be super invested. And you know what? Okay, bet. I'll give you the $400K. I'll give you the $40,000. I'll give you the $5,000 that you're asking for. Believe in your talents. Believe in your dreams, that every day that you put in work with this talent, towards your purpose, that something is going to come out of this. And it's okay right now if you don't know what the something is. When I started this podcast a year ago, I didn't know what the something was going to be. But now, oh baby, I got a real good idea. I got a real good idea of what I want to do. I got a real good idea that I want to be on panels. I want to be on conferences. I want to work with brands. I got a real good idea. But when I first started, I wasn't sure. And that's okay. But I started anyway. I need you to adapt the mindset of do it anyway. Even if it doesn't necessarily make sense. You feel like he's told you to do it, obey him. Because that's where the elevation is, and the promotion is. It's in the obedience. It's not in the flashy works and you posting a picture of your paid off tag, of your loan. Great. That is how you give faith to others. That is how you motivate people to do the same. Okay, bet. Now I'm going to believe in God to pay off my car early. I'm going to believe him to pay off my mortgage early. But it's not just solely in that. It's something in you first. The fact that you obeyed first. He cannot bless you when every time he tells you something, you go and try to do a shortcut to get there. Little do you know, he was trying to have you go the long way to avoid this pitfall, this financial, letdown, this hole here. Sure, there's always two ways, at least two ways to get to the same destination. Now, what you see on your way to that destination could be completely different. I could see a whole bunch of construction on mine, and you can see nothing but trees and highway. But hey, we both going to Lowe's. And that's how I feel like it is with your walk in this life. When you do it with God versus when you're following your own path. If your end goal is to, start your business, I'm sure that you are very confident enough to eventually get there to where you have an up and running business. But you might experience a lot of hoopla along the way because you were trying to rush and do it your own way. I've been there. My first business, I rushed. And I was learning as I go, because I'm trying to hit these numbers. I'm trying to post that I got, a 3-figure month, a 4-figure month, a 5-figure month. But you're not even consistent enough to really dig deep into the business aspect of it, so you can have a true business and not just something that's just you just trying to side hustle and make money on the side. No, he wants more for you than just some little side hustle that brings you money. He wants you to have generational wealth. He does. He does not want to see his people struggle. No, so you can get that out. Whoever preaches that's nonsense. He does not want that. I feel like our lives here are, yes, we're going to have struggles because this side of heaven is ran by a whole different entity versus the heaven, that the Bible speaks about. So I get that. The earth is this is the devil. This is the devil's area. God has the ability to still transcend heaven and earth. Absolutely. Because he still owns this. Don't forget it. He's letting him do what he does right now, right? Until his coming. But understand that, even with the devil doing what he does, in other people's lives and tries to stop you from this and tries to do this, or, tries to influence this person, even with all of that, God still has a plan for each and every one of us. And I believe in each and every one of those plans, it's success. Each and every one of those plans is prosperity. It's wealth, generational wealth. It's unity in our marriages, unity in our families, promotions on our job. I believe all of that is ours. It's meant to be ours. But obedience has to be added to that. You can't just go and put your hand out for things and you don't want to do the work to get them. Sometimes it's little things that he tests us with, y'all, and we will miss it entirely. And he tells you, okay, wait, I know you got that increase in your job and you want to pay for that, but wait. And you go get it anyway. And here, lo and behold, 2 days later, you get a flat down to the rim. Now you got to not only replace the tire, but you got to replace the rim as well. But guess what? You would have not been hurting as bad had you not spent the money like he told you not to. But now, now you got to come up with this out-of-pocket expense. There's a method always to the way he does things. We may not ever fully get a grasp on why God does things the way that he does. And that's okay. That truly is okay. But I am glad that at least, even if we never get a full grasp, I'm glad that he at least gives us the basic understandings that if you do what I tell you to do, understand that I will bless you. You may not know when your blessing is going to come, but keep working. Keep putting in the work. You're going to cash out soon. You will. Don't worry about when, but just know you will. So, if you feel like your shelf is a little dusty and your talent and, you feel like, well, I have this talent, but I don't know what to do with it. Work it. Work it. The people that, are, the Bill Gates and the Donald Trumps of the world, those type of really, really famous, rich people, they didn't become themselves in a day. Always, like they say, Rome wasn't built in a day. But I think we are infatuated with that overnight success. I've said it before on the podcast. Anything that comes quick, it will not last. You want to be able to stand on 2 feet. If there was a doggone hurricane, tsunami, earthquake going on all at the same time, you wouldn't even be phased. That's what it feels like to be rooted in him. Because you know that all of this storm and hoopla, folks running around, screaming and hollering, that's temporary. Because God is going to calm it eventually. He will provide clothing for you. He will provide housing for you. He will provide food for you and your family. When you understand the basic things that God will provide for you, you look at, you don't worry the same like you used to. When you know that he's not going to have your lights, why would he? You're doing all that you can to do things right. Sure, they maybe they do get cut off, but you know that God, he's going to have some, something else coming for you, something else to be able to provide for your family. These are just little tests. Don't let the enemy trip you up over and over again. Eventually, you got to say, okay, when I come around this corner, I am certain that there's going to be a hurdle here. Let me be prepared to jump over it. But that's how he gets us. It could be the same doggone turn, the same turn. Hurdle right there. You trip. Hurdle, trip. Hurdle, trip. Hurdle, trip. And sure, your 20s are made for mistakes. You're meant to make mistakes. It's okay. Sure, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to make mistakes at any age. That's the first thing. But sure, you're going to make mistakes. But why keep making the same one over and over and over again? That means that's the definition of insanity. If you keep going around the corner and you keep tripping over the hurdle and you believe that one day you're going to get there and you're going to be able to run through it, that's insanity. You need to either jump or go around it or get in another lane where the hurdle is not present. But to believe that you're just about to just hulk your way through it and not be injured or hurt is nonsense. And I feel like that's why you may feel stuck at where you're at. Like, oh my gosh, no matter what I'm doing, I just can't get over this hump. I can't. Evaluate the hump. What is it that's tripping you up? If it's consistency, I need you to write a plan and stick to it, and a realistic plan. You can't do a 6-mile run every day if you have not ran in a year. Let's put every day, I'm going to run for 10 minutes. I'm going to run for 5 minutes every day, nonstop, without stopping. You master that. Now I'm going to run for 10. Now I'm going to run for 15, 20, 30. That's how you work your way up to the 6 miles. But if you want to, and like I said, it's always multiple ways to get to the same end goal. You can do that, but just know that your body is going to get beat down. You're going to be tired. You're going to be wore out. You might have to go to the doctor a couple of times because you didn't tore something up or you extra sore. You know, you'll get there. Yeah, your body is eventually going to start adjusting to the amount of running you're doing. But but the first way, you build up the endurance and you build your body up to be tested that way versus you just throwing yourself out there. And it's the same thing with your talent. Give yourself the room to really work it. Work it, work it, work it. If you can't give yourself a year to dedicate to something, you might not be ready to start it. Because I'm telling you, it's yes, people do blow up overnight. But I think within a year's time, you could really, really master some stuff, man. You could really, really master technique and just becoming more efficient at what you're doing. And once you get that, once you get a routine and you're disciplined and you're consistent, now we can go for the races. But we can't go for the races if we don't even have blueprints in place. We're just waking up and just doing what feels good. No. Wipe the dust off the shelf, pick the book back up, and let's go. All these talented people that you're around, babes, you have talent too. You're just choosing not to use it. You see your friends being successful. You see people that have similar backgrounds in you, like you, and they're killing it. They're crushing it in their roles. You can do that too. It literally is going to come down to if you want to apply yourself and if you truly believe that your talent has value. Because if you don't believe it has value, you'll treat it like that's why you're treating it like trash. Because you don't think it's worth anything. But I'm telling you, it is. If you nurture it like you do a newborn baby, and you build it up, you build up your endurance with that thing. That thing will grow up to be full grown, and that thing will work. It will work its own, just like we are. That we're not as dependent on our parents as we were when we were babies. But it takes 18 years to be 18. It takes 27 years to be 27. You don't just get to blink and say, okay, today I'm going to be 27. Ma'am, you're 12. No, you're not. You still got some time. Like, it takes time to get these things. And it's okay. Every day counts. Every moment counts. Every hour, every second. All of that counts. And you're going to be grateful when you see your end goal being reached and you look back over how you got there and you see the processes and the things that you have in place to continue to oil that machine. You'll be happy. Versus the person that's still trying to get it together. They popping, they numbers is doing it and they views is doing it and their money is coming in, but baby, they don't have no systems in place. So they just stressed and full of chaos. You don't want to be like that. You don't. Trust me. All money ain't good money. Okay? All fame ain't good fame. Take your time and you will get there. And who knows, maybe you will get there faster than you thought, but take your time. Take your time. So, what did we learn? Don't be a dusty shelf. Wipe it off. Get to work. Use your talents. If you beat faces, start beating them again. If you do hair, start slaying again. If you're good on the game, start going online again. Start talking again. Okay? Go back to it. Go back to it. Go back to it. I got to say it again. Go back to it. Go back. Start again. Try again. Because you ain't even really tried it like you could really try it. So do it again. Again. And again and again. Don't come back to me, tell you that you're tired until you didn't try it at least 100 times. Then we could talk about tired, and we could really be like, okay, let's see what let's show me what you're doing, and let's see if we can find it. 100 times, you going one of them hundreds gonna be a success. Even if it's a success of you saying, okay, this is not for me, that's still a success in my eyes. You discovering that something is not your purpose is still a success. Yep. Because that's going to save you time. That's going to save you money. That's going to save you heartache, heartbreak, headaches, all the aches. It's going to save them. You're going to have a longer life because you ain't going to be as stressed. Yeah. So failing is not always bad. It could tell you like, okay, sis, this is not for you. You need to find something else. Okay? Listen. If you're listening on YouTube, I would love for you to subscribe and become part of the team. Okay, we're growing. We have 5 new subs on YouTube. Okay, we are growing. We are doing the thing. Okay, come over to the squad. You won't be disappointed. We laugh over here. This season's theme is laughs and tears, or tears and giggles, something like that. So you're gonna be laughing and you might be crying, but you're gonna laugh. Okay, you gonna chuckle. Don't play. Listen, we are on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. All you have to do is search ULRB Podcasts. Last episode, I gave you the wrong email address. No one sent the email, so that was, good in a sense because that was the wrong email I sent y'all. I have access to it, but I just don't want y'all to use that email. If you have a question or something you want me to address in the podcast, I want you to send an email to ulrbpodcast@gmail.com. That's ulrbpodcast@gmail.com. Send me an email. If you want to be left anonymous, that is perfectly fine. If not, I'll just use your first name, your age, and your location. If you leave it, you can just put your state. Listen, I ain't trying to have people go looking for you. And you can leave a question, and I'll answer it. Either I'll probably address it at the end of the episode. Is where I'll read your question and I'll answer it. I really hope y'all send me some questions because I would love to answer them. Listen, thank you so much for stopping by. I know that you had a good time. If you didn't, listen again. Okay? Thank y'all for coming. See y'all same time next week. Sub to the YouTube channel. Follow the show on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. All right? I'll see y'all next week. Peace. Talk soon.